Hello everyone, Highlander here with MTG Cardsmith doing another custom Magic the Gathering card review and reviewing another card by Hergusbergus. This one's called Yola. Yola. Scare you I will. Okay, so colorless is a theme. Yay. Okay, so horrors are colorless, I suppose. I mean, I could sit here and say the generally horrors are black, but okay, we're going with the colorless thing. That's fine. This one's a horror god apparently, and it's just Yola. No, okay. This name. There's so many ways you can just screw with this name. Okay, there's Yoda. There's Yolo. Yolanda. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know about the Yola. You're not that scary when people can make fun of your name. That's the thing. All right, Yola. Let's see what you got. Okay, so whenever you only live always. You only live always because he's a god. All right, whenever Yola. Okay, so this is a 5-mana 3/4. Okay, so stats are pretty bad. Whenever Yola enters the battlefield or attacks, each opponent mills a card. If a creature card with mana value 5 or less was milled this way, you may put it onto the battlefield tapped under your control. Okay, so this one... Okay. So again, we're in the mill theme. The horror mill theme. Okay, I'm starting to... things are starting to come together here. So... Okay, so stats-wise, this card's pretty weak. So so far, it seems to me like you basically get like 2 shots at getting a creature. I mean, the payoff is pretty big. You get a free creature, right? But only if its mana value is 5 or less. But, still, it's pretty good value. Now, you really, like I was saying, you really only get 2 shots at this because its stats are pretty below par here, so he's not likely to survive. Like, so you play this guy, you get 1 shot at it, right? Maybe you hit the lottery, but I think your chances are not that great to hit. I mean, there's some percentage of the deck there's like 40% of your deck which is like lands for one, and then there's some percentage of, creatures that the player is playing that are larger than mana value 5. There's removal, there's artifacts, enchantments, whatever. So let's just say if you're playing against the right deck, you have maybe a 50% chance of hitting here. It's probably lower than that, but we'll just go with 50%. So you can spike there, or you cannot, and then you can attack and try to get another creature, but then he'll probably die in combat. So if you're really lucky, you'll get 2 creatures out of this. You'll get a 2-for-1, essentially. This guy will die. I guess if you're really lucky, they don't have anything in play, so you'll have a 3-for-1. But the chances of that are pretty low. So this is a pretty swinging card. Like, sometimes you'll play this and it actually just won't do anything. Like, you'll play it, you'll mill, you'll miss. You'll attack, you'll mill, you'll miss, and then they'll block this guy and he'll die. And you've basically played a 5-mana 3/4, right? I think on average you will probably get something. Again, it's very swingy. Like, sometimes you'll get nothing, sometimes you'll get a lot. Hopefully most of the time you'll get like 1 thing. So yeah, interesting card. So the one thing that kind of so overall, I think that this card is pretty cool. I kind of like what's going on here. The only thing that kind of bothers me here is, so this is a legendary creature, right? So presumably this could be your commander, and as we saw with the other, like with the elk, what was his name? Void Messenger. So we saw with Void Messenger. So Void Messenger mills cards, and this one does too. Now, granted, I haven't seen the other cards, but to me, it would make more sense if like each of those creatures, like cared about milling in general rather than their mill trigger, if that makes sense. So this guy only activates on his own mill trigger, right? He doesn't activate on the Void Messenger mill trigger, and vice versa. The Void Messenger doesn't get to deal damage from this guy's triggers, right? So while yes, you're both of these cards care about milling, and both of them care about creatures, milling creatures, they don't really work with each other, right? They just happen to both mill. So I think it would be especially for like, I mean, maybe Void Messenger doesn't need that, but especially for like a legendary creature, which is potentially your commander, you might want you might want to like consider caring about milling in general. So what you could do, I mean, obviously this effect would be really nuts if it cared about any milling, right? So what you could do, but there's a lot of knobs you can turn. So for example, you could do something like, whenever one or more creature cards are put into an opponent's graveyard from their library, you may exile one of them. For as long as it remains exiled, you can cast it and you can spend mana of any type, or something like that, and then maybe make them more expensive, so whatever. I mean, even that's already pretty strong. But again, something kind of like that. Like you kind of make the payoff a little bit harder to get. But you care about milling in general, right? And I think that would be a much more interesting design, because then you actually want to combine these cards together. Like Yola is sort of just a standalone card. And you're paying a big cost. I mean, if this guy's your commander, you can only play colorless cards. You can't play any colored cards in your deck, right? So you're paying a pretty big cost. So you might as well have your colorless cards work with each other, if that makes sense. So anyway, okay, so overall the idea behind Yola is cool. I like this card. I think it's neat. I think my only issue is I wish it had more of a commander feel, rather like this card could really be a standalone creature. It doesn't really need to be legendary. Like I don't really see wanting this card as a commander, because it doesn't really, you're not really building a deck around it. You're just playing it and attacking and hoping to spike, you know what I mean? So as a regular creature, I like it a lot. As a commander, I like it less. But yeah, I think overall, I'll give this one a 7 out of 10. I think it's a cool card. The art is much better on this one. It's really weird looking, which I like. Could probably use... if it were me, I mean, you don't have to do this, and this doesn't really affect the card at all, but I would probably change the name. At least, if you want to stick with Yola, at least add a little comma something. Yola, the scary man, Yola, you only live always. Yola of Dagobah, something like that. I think if this card... I think this card could be like an 8 or a 9, depending on what its effect looked like, if it worked better with the other mill cards. So, all right, so that's my review of Yola. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.